I'm Adam. And I'm Chick. And this is Where There's a Williams, There's a Way. Hey, Chick. Hey, Adam. Did you hear about that new Chinese restaurant that opened up downtown? Yeah, I did. I've been craving some good Chinese food lately. Me too. I could really go for some sweet and sour tofu right about now. Sweet and sour tofu? That's an interesting choice. I'm more of a kung pao chicken kind of guy myself. Well, I'm trying to watch my figure, you know. Can't have too many calories. Fair point. But I think the last time I checked, tofu wasn't exactly a list of superfoods either. Hey, don't ruin my illusion of healthy eating. Let me have this one. Alright, tofu it is. But I hope they have some good fortune cookies. Maybe they'll even have some specially tailored ones for us. The hippo predicts you will eat more bamboo shoots this year. And the teacher foresees a classroom of chaos followed by a weekend of grading papers. In today's book, Amy loves to make bao with her family, but it takes skill to make the bao taste and look delicious, and her bao keep coming out all wrong. Then she has an idea that may give her a second chance. Will Amy ever make the perfect bao? Let's get started. Amy Wu and the Perfect Bao by Kat Zhang. Illustrated by Charlene Chua. Bao, like bow, not like bow. Amy can do a lot of things. She can brush her teeth. She can tie her shoes. She can even do both at once. Sort of. But there's one thing Amy cannot do. She cannot make the perfect bao. Sometimes they come out too small. Sometimes they come out too big. Sometimes she adds too much filling. Sometimes not enough. And sometimes they fall apart before they reach her mouth. Amy's mom and dad make perfect bao. So does her grandma. Their bao are soft and fluffy and so delicious. Amy could eat them all day. Sometimes she does. Today, Amy's going to do it. She's going to make the world's most perfect bao. Bao making is an all-day event. Amy's dad starts in the morning, mixing together the ingredients for the dough. Then it's time to knead. He pushes the dough. He punches the dough. Amy gives it a try too. They leave the dough to rise. Amy keeps an eye on it just in case. It grows bigger and bigger and even bigger. Amy's dad squishes the dough down just in time. He rolls it into a log and cuts it into pieces. Meanwhile, Amy's mom seasons meat for the filling. Garlic, pepper, salt, mushrooms, ginger. I've been thinking of expanding my culinary skills. You know, trying to become a master chef and all. That's ambitious. What are you planning to cook? I was thinking of starting with something simple, you know, like boiling water. Boiling water? That's not exactly gourmet cuisine. Hey, Rome wasn't built in a day. I've got to start somewhere. Plus, I heard boiling water is the foundation of all great recipes. Fair point. But if you want to impress, maybe consider something a bit more complex. Like what? How about spaghetti? It's still pretty straightforward, and you get to practice your noodle softening skills. Spaghetti, you say? That does sound appetizing. But what if I accidentally overcook the noodles and turn them into mush? That's a risk, but hey, you'll learn from your mistakes. Plus, mushy spaghetti can still be delicious in its own unique way. I suppose you're right. Okay, alright, I'm ready to embark on this culinary journey. Spaghetti it is. Excellent choice, Chick. Just remember, patience is key. And maybe keep the fire away from any nearby bushes. Everyone gathers around the table and rolls up their sleeves. It's time to get to work. Amy's first bao turns out a little funny. So does the second. It's hard to know how much filling to add. Too little and the bao is sad and empty. Too much and oops! It's also hard to pinch the bao shut just right. Pinch, pinch, pinch. Amy watches her mom make a perfect bao. She watches her dad make a perfect bao. And her grandma too. They all try to teach her. Roll out the dough like this, says Amy's dad. Use just enough filling, says Amy's mom. Pinch, 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 says Amy's grandma. But Amy's bao just aren't the same. They're too empty or too fat. They have holes in them and they leak. Maybe today won't be the day after all. Maybe Amy just can't make the perfect bao. Then Amy has an idea. The pieces of dough were cut for grown-up hands, but Amy's hands are very small. She whispers her idea into her grandma's ear. Amy's grandma cuts each piece of dough into 2 smaller pieces, Amy-sized pieces. Now they fit perfectly in Amy's palms. Carefully, Amy rolls the dough so it's thicker on the inside and thinner at the edges. She adds just the right amount of filling. She pinches it shut. And there it is, Amy's perfect bao. She makes another, and even more after that. She's a bao making master. Soon, all the dough and filling are gone. Everyone is tired, but they're not done yet. Amy's grandma boils a big pot of water. It's time to steam the bao. Amy keeps an eye on the steamer, just in case. All her perfect bao, and all the imperfect ones too, are snug inside. The bao are done. Amy's mom lifts the lid off the steamer. Whoosh! Out comes a puff of steam. Amy can't see anything at all. The steam clears. There are Amy's perfect bao. They are not too small, they're not too big. They have just the right amount of filling, and they do not leak. They're soft and fluffy, and so delicious. Amy eats one, then another. Then she eats one of the not so perfect bao. And you know what? It tastes just as good. Hey Adam, do you know what it takes to succeed in life? Perseverance, dedication, hard work? Nope, it takes grit. Grit like sandpaper? No, not that kind of grit. I'm talking about the determination to keep going even when life throws you a curveball. Oh, I got it. So like when you're teaching kids math and they just don't get it. Exactly. You gotta have the grit to explain fractions for the 100th time without losing your mind. Oh, trust me, I've got enough grit to build a sandcastle at this point. Amy's family recipe makes 20 bao. Be sure to ask for help from a trusted grown-up when preparing this recipe. Have fun! Bao dough. 1 packet active dry yeast. 2 1/4 teaspoon. 1/2 cup warm water. 4 cups all-purpose flour. 2 teaspoon baking powder. 2 teaspoons salt. 1/4 cup sugar. 1 cup low-fat milk. 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Bao dough instructions. 1. Add the yeast to the 1/2 cup of warm water, along with a large pinch of sugar, and mix until the yeast dissolves. The water should turn frothy in a few minutes. 2. In a large bowl, combine 3 1/4 cups flour, baking powder, salt, and the rest of the sugar. Mix together. 3. Add the milk, oil, and yeast water to the dry ingredients. Mix together until the wet and dry ingredients are incorporated. Then knead 5 to 10 minutes until the dough is soft and elastic. Slowly add the remaining 1/4 cup of flour as needed. When the dough has been sufficiently kneaded, a thumbprint pressed into the dough should slowly spring back. 4. Form the dough into a ball and place it back into the large bowl. Cover the bowl with plastic wrap and leave it in a warm place for 1 to 1.5 hours until the dough has doubled in size. 5. Gently punch down the dough and knead it for another 5 minutes. Place it back in the bowl, cover it with the plastic wrap, and leave it to rise for another hour. Bao filling. 1/2 pound raw shrimp, no shells or tails. 1/2 pound ground pork. 1 egg. 2 tablespoons rice wine. 1 teaspoon sesame oil. 2 tablespoons soy sauce. 2 tablespoons fish sauce. Pinch of pepper. 1 teaspoon ginger powder, 5 shiitake mushrooms minced, 3 cloves garlic minced, 2 teaspoons fresh ginger minced, salt to taste. Bao filling instructions. 1. Dice the shrimp into small pieces and add it to the ground pork, egg, rice wine, sesame oil, soy sauce, fish sauce, pepper, and ginger powder in a large bowl. 2. Add the minced shiitake mushrooms, garlic, and ginger to the bowl. Mix all of the ingredients to combine, but do not overmix. 3. A spoonful of the mixture can be cooked like a meatball in boiling water or fried in a pan to allow for tasting if needed. Add additional salt. Bao making instructions. 1. Cut 20 2-inch squares of parchment paper. Shape the bao dough into a rough log approximately 3 inches in diameter and cut 20 pieces of equal size. 3. Take a piece of dough and flatten it into a rough circle by hand or with a rolling pin. The circle should be approximately 4 inches in diameter and thicker at the center than at the edges. 4. Place about a tablespoon of bao filling into the center of the dough circle. It is better to start with smaller amounts of filling to make the pleating easier. Pleat the bao shut by pinching the edges of the dough circle until the top comes together like a drawstring purse. There are many videos online that show the pleating process. 5. Place each pleated bao on a square of parchment paper. 6. Pleated bao should sit for about 15 minutes before being steamed. Generally, it takes at least this long to pleat all the bao, so by the time you're finished pleating all 20, the first few will be ready to go into the steamer. 7. Steam the bao with the parchment paper underneath in a steamer for 10 minutes. Remove the steamer from the heat for 3 to 4 minutes before removing the lid to keep the bao from deflating. 8. Eat! I've been on a bao making spree lately, and I thought maybe we could give it a shot together. I thought you were just boiling water at this point. Have you seen these paws? They're like giant spatulas, perfect for kneading dough. Well, that's an unexpected advantage. Alright, what kind of bao are we making? Let's go traditional with pork filling. It's a classic. Agreed, but I have to ask, how are we going to steam them? Easy. I'll just fill up the bathtub, turn on the hot water, and voila! Instant steamer. I think you might be taking the hippo in the kitchen thing a bit too literally. How about we stick to a regular steamer on the stove? Alright. No need to rain on my parade, but I'm warning you, if I can't use the bathtub, I'm gonna pout. Noted. Now let's get to it before you decide to start adding watermelon to the recipe. And if you don't want us to pout, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I'm Adam. And I'm Chick. And this is Where There's a Williams, There's a Way. Did you know bao buns originated in China in the 3rd century? Bao buns can be baked, steamed, or fried, and can be served with or without soup. The name bao bun is redundant because bao means bun.